Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, May 28th, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. How to find freedom from the mind. When I grip the wheel too tight, I find I lose control. Steve Rapson. The mind is always thinking. This is its job. It's always planning and pretending, hoping and wishing, pondering and probing, dreaming and scheming, and yearning for more. Basically, 99% of the time, our minds are busy capturing data and processing it, assimilating and creating new information. It's extremely occupied, trying to make sense of all this data. Then, what it needs to know, so you can become, do, and have whatever you desire. The mind is necessary to have an experience in this body and is vital for our survival. Yet it doesn't know how to stop thinking and discover a permanent state of bliss within. The mind is indeed an awe-inspiring analyzing machine that functions a lot like a computer. And guess where computers come from? The mind. And the mind can process, assimilate, imagine anything if given enough time. You could even figure out Einstein's mathematical equations to space and time if you had a few decades and a burning desire. And yet, with all its amazing power, there is one thing that the mind cannot provide for you, and that is everlasting inner peace. The mind is useless when it comes to discovering the eternal spiritual source of joy, love, and satisfaction, which is always at our core. The really interesting thing about the mind is that it only exists in the past or the future. It only exists in the past or the future. It only knows yesterday and tomorrow. The mind simply cannot exist in the now, where peace resides. It spends all of its time in the future or the past. The mind is incapable of remaining in a state of peace because all its yearning, striving, and efforting to arrive there just creates more feeling of lacking peacefulness. It is always trying to get somewhere other than here, now. It is always wondering what's going to happen next or processing what has just happened. And we dare you to try to keep your mind present in the now for this moment. Try it. Just for a few moments right now. Let the mind reside only in the now. And see what happens. So what did you notice? Did life suddenly become more peaceful? You may have caught a glimpse at the crazy life that manifests from living in a mind that is continuously obsessed with past and future all day long, all year long, all lifetime long. When the mind is in charge, you can never find peace. The mind never stops to rest in the now because it would lose its job. It operates from the perspective that the now is not okay in some way, and thus it must always improve or change it. This is the exact opposite of the energy of inner peace, which stems from a deep knowing that everything is always perfect in the entire universe in this simple, sweet moment. Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you were truly free from the mind? What would even one day be like for you? Imagine that that day is today. Birds are singing, breeze is blowing, and you're able to hear, smell, and feel the beauty of it all. Of course, you could hear what the mind was saying if you paid attention to it. Yet, you choose instead to observe it and not get caught in its entangling dramas. Being the divine witness, watching it all from a higher perspective, you find peace by dropping the mind. True peace is a state of no mind. You can either choose peace or mind, and peace of mind occurs only when there is no mind. It is absolutely essential to know your mind so that you can transcend it. You need to understand how to let go of your mind so that you can find peace in any moment of your life. Start with trusting the process of letting it go. Trust that you are on the path of finding total freedom from the constant chill chat in the mind. This choice is the first step on an infinite journey. The second step is knowing that your mind is connected to an infinite divine intelligence, that it is always leading you towards enlightenment, even if it doesn't look that way. The third step is to imagine what it feels like to be free from your past, excuse me, future, all your desires, inhibitions, fears, doubts, worries, and expectations. And yes, imagination is employing the mind, of course. Yet, what other tool do you have to use to free yourself from its grasp on you? So keep imagining what it feels like to infinitely dive into a permanent feeling of freedom. Once you can imagine this and hold this thought for several minutes, the real deal will soon follow and find you. Ultimately, we need to use the mind to drop the mind. Isn't that interesting? Ultimately, we need to use the mind to drop the mind. To find total freedom in this life, the mind has to step down from its pedestal and get out of your way. Yet, who is going to coax it to step down? You are. And this decision to choose freedom over everything is the key. You'll soon find something amazing inside you when the mind surrenders and you turn inwards towards the divine spirit that you already are. So relax, bask in the light of the eternal peaceful experience of pure being. Once you realize that this is available in each millisecond, following your daily mind chatter is the last thing you're drawn to do. The mind is awfully interesting, and yet the major block in the way to finding true freedom. When you drop all of your attachments to it, you begin awakening to a much bigger reality that goes beyond the walls of what is inside and outside yourself. And you deeply realize that who you are is not your mind, nor your thoughts, nor your emotions, nor your body, then the awakening process begins. Start with finding the silence between each thought. The space, between ideas speaks to you in a way that goes beyond what can be spoken. By listening to this gap between words, this ordinary life suddenly becomes very profound and meaningful. It is only in this space of silence you will find total freedom and the constant flowing river of peacefulness. You can see that the mind cannot exist in silence. The mind cannot exist in the spacious infinite universe that is everywhere now. If you want to rid yourself of the constant struggle of thoughts and negative emotions in your life, keep surrendering to this silence. Once you find this silence, the mind relaxes and you discover the foundation of your very being. Once you continue or confine to continue yourself to this present moment, core, essential, foundational presence, your entire life is instantly healed and enlightened. When the mind disappears into the profound silence of the now moment, you also will discover that you don't really exist. The personality construct fades into the background, merging with the millions of other ideas. You soon will begin to know yourself as the profound silence and realize you are this infinite, timeless essence that is always present, no matter what crazy thoughts abound. Even when the cacophony of your mind feels almost deafening, this silence of pure beingness continues to permeate everything. The more you allow your mind to quiet, the more you can tap into this ever-deepening, peaceful energy that is your true nature. You are naturally this vast, calm reservoir of silence, even when your mind causes ripples on the surface of the sleep. The stillness at the core, your being, is never touched. So try this for the next 7 days. Spend as much time as you can every morning when you wake up and every evening before you sleep, diving into the gap between your thoughts. Rest deeply in the silence, and you'll find between each word. The silence is between each word. Simply close your eyes and focus on the space that exists between each thought. Notice that in this space between your thoughts, there is only pure consciousness. Relax into this consciousness. If your mind gets busy, which it will, this space will be very tight. It will be a very tight, small gap. Gently return to relaxing the body, diving into the space again and again and again. Keep diving into these tiny spaces. Eventually the mind will slow down and the space will expand. You will one day find this amazing ultimate freedom from the mind. Just keep surrendering to the process. It is a big one. And know that the result is an ultimate freedom from all suffering that will make the rest of your life a living bliss. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted, and I'm sure that we all are. And the first thing that we care to do is relax the body we are in, because we know we're not the body. We know it. We're not the body, we're not the mind, we're not the character, we're not the personality. We aren't our belongings. We aren't our status. We are the God within this body. Pure consciousness, pure love, pure bliss, pure nirvana. So we move every time we relax the body. And faithfully so, eventually, always, to be in the now. When you relax the body, you do it through your breath. The breath is sacred. The breath is divine. The breath is omnipotently powerful. And you focus easy, just easy, natural, easy and slow. Inhale through the nose. Natural, easy and slow exhale through the mouth. When you do this, you still the ego mind and the subconscious mind. What does stilling mean? You leave it alone. You don't engage because you're in the now. You can't engage with it because it doesn't exist in the now. That's how you'll know in the now. You'll be focused only to moment, your breath. Listening to the breath. Why do you think that the ego mind does everything it can to keep us distracted? To keep us worrying, stressing, fearing either the future or the past. Past, future, future, past, past, future, future, past. That's what it does. So it isn't unusual, is that when you do go into the now and the body begins to relax because you're no longer engaged with your ego mind. So stress, tension, anxiety, fear, worry, revenge, hatred, anger fade out. And the body gets a stress break, which means it lets go of heavy baggage, heavy stuff. Because guess what? We're always engaged in the ego mind. We have that mind chatter, right? All of us have it 24/7. And we each put out over 60,000 thoughts every 24 hours. Not only that, we have tens of millions and billions of thoughts that fly by like clouds in the sky, but they're not ours. You just call them programs. We got a lot going on around us. So focusing on the now is absolutely paramount. Paramount. Only by the breath. Easy in, easy out. And to be at all times with ourselves, all times, no matter what's going on around you. Gentle, kind, generous, humble. Gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself. And then the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest, deepest, and the purest of the purest, purest. Eternal love. At all times. Gratitude. At all times. No matter what's happening around you, very moment, you're always going to be able to find something that you're grateful for. Always. Without fail. You take that energy and you switch it to what am I grateful for? What can I be grateful for? And we all store tension, fear, anger, hatred. We store all that stuff. Okay? Where do we get it from? We get it from the ego mind. You know, month after month, week, year after year, so on and so forth. We store it. Could be anywhere in the body. Eventually, we store it, and it's there so long it piles up so much. For some of us, something breaks. You can't handle it anymore. It's like a super magnetic sponge, right? And then, of course, we have the subconscious mind. What does it do? It copies everything. It's the Great Hall. It copies all the stuff that you've experienced in that body, all the stuff you've experienced in past life bodies, all the stuff other people have experienced that you've been around. I mean, it's never ending. It's massive. And guess what? It plays it back. It plays it back. So you got that, you got the ego mind. Do you see why practicing being in the now as much as possible is absolutely imperative to true freedom, to no longer being the slave to the ego mind, and to have the ego mind become your servant, your tool, your vehicle. Now, you float off. We all float off. You be in the now. That's why it's so difficult to stay in the now, because we float off. We float off on other thoughts. Even a negative or bad thing, we just do it because there's so much of it. To stay focused for us in the now it's a challenge. So when that happens, one of those thoughts, you see the cloud, you grab onto the cloud and float away, off into thoughts. When that happens, it's easy to identify. See, then you begin to identify. I've floated off, not a biggie. I'll focus on my breath, I'll be in the now, 3,000% of the time, which is every single time. See, then you get to realize that these bodies that we're all in are challenging us to remember who and what we really are. Okay? And many just go through lifetime after lifetime to try to discover that. Others, sooner. Maybe some this lifetime. Because knowing is halfway there. Knowing deep within your heart's core that you're not the body, you're the God, you're the pure consciousness within that body. Now you look in the body and you can see 7 lights. The lights are very vibrant, brilliant, much more colorful than the ones on this planet. They go from the tailbone to the top of the head. They're called chakras on this planet. Definition of chakras, wheel. These are wheels of light. They're spirit etheric energy. All of us are spirit etheric energy, omnipotently powerful. We flow through the body. It's part of rediscovering that essence that we all are is the power of healing these bodies that we're in. Doesn't that make sense? That we are our own healers for our own bodies. Does it make sense, doesn't it? So the same that goes with the body, we fix it. We're like super mechanics for the body. Resident mechanics. And, we call upon ourselves to heal the body when the body needs to be healed. Now, picture understanding that knowing is halfway there. Doesn't mean you're going to heal the body in 2 seconds, but knowing that you have the power to do so as the God that you are, so as you begin to discover more of the God that you are within that body, the closer you're going to become to acknowledging with great faith and trust that you'll be able to heal that body. Now picture yourself standing in front of 3 paths, golden circled, right? You're standing in the center one, which is the now. There's one on the left, which is the past. There's one on the right, which is the future. You see how the trees have formed golden canopies over these paths, shimmering leaves and branches and bark. And you notice that the path itself is a brilliant emerald green, flaming, it looks like grass, flaming light energy. Now we do notice that the one on the left, the past, is really worn. It has been used. The one on the right, the future, has been really used. The one you're standing on, the now, is like pristine, brand new. And we all know why, because our ego minds keep us out of the now as much as possible and into the future and the past. That's why those 2 paths are so heavily worn. Now, we all go into the past. And we do it because we reminisce, nostalgia. Things kind of bring it to us, thoughts. You could be doing anything, anywhere, or nothing, nowhere, and have it come in. So you reminisce and you review, and boy, that was a great time. I wish I could do that again. And you also, for reference purposes, look at the times where it wasn't too great, you tried something that didn't work. And so you say, no, I'm going to try something else. Try a different approach to see if that works. So we go up the stairs. This is it's a great hall. And the subconscious mind stores all of it. And so when you walk in and turn the light on to walk in there, of course you're going to look for walls and ceiling. This place is so vast, you can't see the ceiling or the walls. I mean, it's just massive and expansive. But you'll go to the different shelves and drawers, and you'll get some movies and some pictures and some books. You'll sit in an easy chair in front of a screen, and you'll look at some of the movies, right? Watch some of the movies, look at some of the books, read them, and look at some of the pictures. And it'll be a good time. You have a good time there. But then you've looked at enough and reminisced and looked for guide points, and then you put everything away, turn off the light, shut the door, and move forward in life. And on occasion, you revisit. But some of us go there, and I don't believe it's conscious. I believe it's unconscious. We stay there so long that we end up taking that past, bringing it into a future that doesn't exist, creating that future from that past, reliving that past and that future. That's why a lot of people will say, no matter what we do, we always seem to end up here. You have to understand, the past doesn't go forward. It's over. It doesn't exist. Not in the now. And we create our futures in the now. And it's a choice. It's a choice for every one of us. Now, all of us are parts of each other. We're not talking about the bodies. We're talking about the God within, the pure consciousness. We're all part of each other. We're all one. There's no separation. We're all one. No matter if it's 1,000 billion light years away, we're all one. No matter which species, what civilizations, what planetary system, we're all one. What universe, we're all one. This includes, do you think the Ascended Masters and ourselves are separate? Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, El Morya, Abundantia, Peltoth, Yahweh, Yeshua. Do you think we are separate? We are not. These are facets and parts of the gods that we are. And you begin to realize how fascinating and exciting it is to discover this. There is nothing that is more grand, more supreme, more phenomenal, more powerful, nothing than the God in that body. Never has been, never will be, ever, beyond, and forever. It's like the archangels, cherubim, seraphim, archangels. Their bodies house a God, which is part of the God that we are in these bodies. All the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, and beneath earth, those civilizations, their bodies house a God, pure consciousness, which is part of the gods that we are. There's literally no separation. Can you see the big joke that has been put out there? And the great expanse, the existence of all existence and beyond? And on this planet, we're taught that we are separate. And that's not easy to get out. I mean, it's not easy to comprehend and understand that that's not true. And each of us are in bodies, and we seem to be separate. And we're not. But that's what many look at it, as being separate, alone, lonely. How can that be? You know why we're so drawn to each other? Because we're one. The God's within each body. We're pieces of the one. That's why we're so drawn. And the ego mind gets in there, and it's superficial, and it's physical, but it's not the true, deep, eternal love through the ego mind that the Gods that we are within. Can you see on full discovery for all of us in our own way when we choose to discover who and what we are? Along the way, we discover everything else. All light energy beings, fairies, sprites, elves, and gnomes, dwarves, trees, trolls, elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether, mermaid, dolphin, whale, pegasus, unicorn, centaur, minotaur. Gods within their bodies. Part of the gods that we are in these bodies. All the animals, trees, birds, everything. And we have a lot of assistance to remember. All the off-worlders, celestials, galactics, all of their physical forms house God. We're one. And the challenge for us is that we are given the ego mind when we enter these bodies. And the ego mind lives either in the future or the past. So we've got some pretty interesting challenges of discovery. But eventually, each of us will be able to plug into all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. We can be everywhere and nowhere all at once. Doesn't it make sense? We're not separate, the gods and the pure consciousness that we all are. Doesn't it make sense that why wouldn't we be able to plug in that all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever? Knowing that we have complete freedom, always have. Knowing that we are eternal beings. Knowing that we are omnipotently powerful. See, because in the now, because the ego mind doesn't exist, you don't have that ego mind stuff. You've got heart-minded stuff. Gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. See, you begin to understand when you pray, you're praying to the God that you are within that body, not to something in the sky. You're praying to the God that you are. You're asking the God that you are for help, for assistance, for guidance, for understanding. And in a meditative state, you will always receive answers and suggestions and guidance. But that won't happen in the ego mind. If the ego mind is mastering you, is the master of you, that won't happen. And you look at this planet, and you look at hundreds of millions of us consciously aware, right? Now, consciously aware means that we know we are of and from the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. And then there are other parts of us that are asleep, stone cold asleep, other parts of the gods that we are. We deeply love them just as much as we deeply love the parts of us that are awake. And to begin to feel that you are never separate, never, ever separate from anything, nothing are you separate from, the God in that body. Nothing. You are part of everything, and everything is part of you. This is a whole different perspective, understanding, and comprehension for this civilization. And nothing to do with religion. It is twice removed from religion. This is a knowing. This is a decision that each of us make to discover the God that we are within these bodies and what goes with it. what comes with it. In the ego-mind world, in the material physical world, pain, suffering, anger, hate, frustration, disappointment, fun, happiness at times. Because that's a choice. It's always a choice with any of us. But when you decide to go within, it isn't temporary. It's not like you take a vacation. It is permanent. So every time you slip out, you slip back in. We can be anything. We can inhabit anything. We are omnipotently powerful. We're immortal beings. Supreme immortality. Supreme reality. Divine perfection. And think about that. Feel it with your heart mind. That's our concentration for the liberation of this planet. Massive. Flooding it. That's why we're all in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. We're all one. We're all God, and we're all love. And our God force love light energy isn't all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. It continues to expand, intensify, and grow. We form a massive white fire circle of light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. This emanates from the God source. You, me, all of us in these bodies. This is pure, deep, eternal love, the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. It's saturating, permeating, and flooding this planet 24/7, infinity and beyond. There's no end to it. There is no hiding from it. It is in full force. It continues to grow and expand and strengthen. You can see what that leaves the lower dark matter, survival matter frequency. Nowhere. Now, we ascend above the planet. We continue to move in the now as the gods that we are in these bodies. And as we continue to ascend, we come into full contact with this massive ocean of glitter. Now, you can picture it through your heart minds, but you aren't going to find that on this planet. And the ocean of glitter, so you describe it with what we know on this planet. So we take a massive grand finale fireworks display and a massive grand finale laser light show and a massive ballroom globe that reflects all light, floods the room when light is shined upon it. It perfectly has mirrors. We combine them all into a massive crescendo, and in one burst of spectacularness, it describes as nearly as possible the ocean of glitter. We look at all the reflective points. All the reflective points. And we notice these little tiny microscopic perfectly etched mirrors, and they're everywhere. So we enter them. And we discover that all of us are teaching each other, guiding each other, showing each other, constantly. You learn from trees, you learn from bugs, you learn from bees, you learn from everything. But as long as you're too distracted with the material physical world, you're not going to. You'll miss it. It'll just pass you by. There are gods in physical form that go enter physical form to experience physical form. It doesn't matter if they're a squirrel or a cow or a spider or a fly. And so as you look at that world, that existence. You learn. So God enters something, and you're watching this something, and you go into meditation, and you go within, and you still the ego mind, the subconscious mind, and you listen, you watch for the message. And that's how it all works. Trees teach us. Trees teach us how to bend, how to flex with adversity, how to go with the flow. And they also show us how not to be stubborn, like the oak tree. How could we ever become bored on this planet? Well, when you create an external reality, you create this physical material world to entertain us. It's not hard. It's pretty easy to get too tied up and too caught up in it. Because the ego mind would love you to be there because that's the future and the past. It's not the now. And the only thing that any of us have on this planet is what? Is the now, the very moment. Can any of us guarantee waking up tomorrow morning? No, we can't. Nobody can. I don't care if you're 10, 15, 20, 100, 150. Doesn't matter. None of us can. Doesn't it make sense? But yet the ego mind keeps us in the future or the past, where all the worrying, stress, and fear, and anxiety, and anger, and hatred, and revenge, and hurriedness is. Now, we're immediately met with the emerald green flaming healing light that Archangel Raphael carries. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all that we are the power of healing, the gods that we are within these bodies. We're then met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael carries this column of light. We all created it, the gods that we are. That reminds us of the gods that we are, of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. We also created the white fire. This is a column of light that reminds us all that from head to toe, inside and out, the gods that we are and these bodies are protected from the pure, deep, eternal love that all of us are, the gods in these bodies. It is the highest of the highest high frequency. Cannot be breached, penetrated at all. While we hold that level of vibrational frequency, lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies cannot come near us, nor demon possession or any kinds of forms of attachments. They'll vaporize. Their low frequency cannot sustain itself in such a high frequency, so they'll just vanish. So they stay away. So we're protected 24/7, infinity beyond. Always. Yet, only you have the power that if you choose or you decide, whether consciously or unconsciously, to lower your vibrational frequency low enough through hatred, anger, fear, greed, worry, revenge, envy, all of it, you will lower your vibrational frequency low enough to create a breach in your white fire armor, enough so to allow lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. And then there's different possibilities of demon possession, attachments, all sorts of interesting things. Now, once you decide to do this, you're immediately met with a double column of light. We create this, the gods that we are, to remind us the power that we are. And so this double column of light starts with the purple transmuting flame. It reminds us that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame, transmute all these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, sending them to pure consciousness where they are, no more. The other part of this column of light is the violet ray. We created this part to remind us all that we can bring in the violet ray, We can cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony to the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. We're then met by the golden white pink light. This is a column of light that we, the gods in these bodies, created to remind us all that we are the sun, we are the sunlight, we are the rain and the rainbows, we are the sunsets and the sunrises, we are the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the streams, we are the trees and the forests, the skies and the clouds, the mountains. We're everything. Everything is us. So from a ego mind perspective, you look at a sunset or a rainbow and you go, wow, that's just absolutely beautiful. And you're really taken aback. You get your phone out and you take a picture. But through the heart mind and through the gods that we are within these bodies, we look at that same view and we say, that's the God that I am. What a beautiful planet we've made. And the beauty and the majesty and the divinity is you, the God in that body. And this isn't directed, the ego mind, that's how that works, but the heart mind, that is the God that I am. Now, we are ascending. Some of us carry physical form, so we hop out of the physical form, hover effortlessly above it. The reason we do it is because it's really fun and we can. Now we come across another creation of ours. Crystalline light tower. It's massive. It's larger than the solar system, beyond. In the center of the column, we've discovered that there is this massive oblong sphere, humongous golden white ball of life, white light in the sphere, that in turn is surrounded by numerous multicolored rings of light that seem to go to infinity and beyond. This in turn has created a super bright, reflective, glittering, sparkling, flashing, misty cloud. It is absorbed in through right through our chest, right into our heart mind. And it feels like this warm embrace that never ends. And then we discover that the golden white ball of light is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. Then comes gratitude, peace, well-being, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, prosperity, abundance, tranquility, benevolence. Massive prosperity and massive abundance. And we discover that all of this is a reflection of the gods that we are in these bodies. Now, at the top of this tower, we designed it so the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, infinity and beyond, like it's doing right now. This is pure, deep, eternal love. And it floods, saturates, and permeates this planet. On it, in it, above it, and below it. There's no space for lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. Anyway. Now, we are drops of this golden ocean. And we also hold the essence of this golden ocean. Golden ocean is the drops are the golden ocean. The only illusion is separation. We see our meditative sphere. We all created this sphere over 4 years ago. It holds all of our meditations in perpetual motion. Not quite 1900. Every day, hundreds of millions on and off world, focus with the intent as the gods that we are, total liberation of this planet. Pure, immersed, saturated, and permeated, on it, in it, above it, and below it, with pure, deep, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. That is omnipotently powerful. That's why this sphere can be seen, heard, and felt, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Continues to intensify, expand, and grow. Strengthen. And when you want, you go into meditative state, you still the ego mind, subconscious mind, you're in the now, you're focused on your breath, and you look through your heart mind, and you see the transformation of this planet. You see all the goop, the black matter, the dark black matter, the AI black matter, all of it. And you see the atmosphere that we've instilled and actually charged with a golden, white, pink, shimmering kind of a, you can see through it, but you can see it shimmering. It's opaque. And you see this dark sludge goop, and you watch it as it's evaporating from the planet everywhere. And as it goes through this field, this golden, white, pink light field, you can see flashes, almost like glitter, but not glitter, flashes. And you see it disintegrating as it goes through the atmosphere. And then the sky we've turned into a golden, white, pink, brilliant, shimmering sky. So any of it that makes it to the sky, one big flash, and it's gone. There's no escape. There's no escape for the corrupted souls. There's no escape for the pure evil. None. And nor will they be allowed back here. Ever. Do you know why there is so much suffering in this world? Because most everyone is over-identified with their thoughts and wrapped up in the ego, an illusionary limited identity. The ego trip gets in the way of knowing yourself to be a divine, flowering, flowing source of love, sweetness, and joy. Drop whatever knowledge you have that is causing you to cling to your ego. Stop reacting and start to consciously allow life's natural, intelligent, and conscious, loving energy to flow through you, because you are divine essence itself. I'll join you in a meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose and an easy, slow breath out through the mouth. Be still. Look at something in nature as if it were for the very first time. Maybe a tree, a bug, rock, flower, whatever it is. Just gaze into it, through it. This will help you see the purpose of life. As you stare into the flower or tree, open your eyes and your being to experience something of the beyond. Receive the pure nature into your being. Gaze into it for a long enough time until you let it fully merge into you. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We will return here Sunday, May 29th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.